Delta presents SDP. The Steve Dangle Podcast with your hosts, Steve Dangle and Adam Wilde.
Do you care about hockey?
No. The show's done. Please go home. Enjoy the rest of the holiday weekend.
Guys.
Yeah.
I think we nailed it. We had a good 5-year run, and now we don't care anymore.
Show. Yeah, good show.
No, I
Do we
asked.
monetize that? I don't know.
I'm sure.
No, 100%.
Yeah. All right.
I mean, I know you.
Unskippable ads that last 4 minutes in front of that video.
Well,
You want to make a stunning website.
Wix. Is that what we normally get for ours? Is it Wix?
We get a lot of
We've been getting
things.
some good ones lately.
Have
I've
we?
seen like a couple Canadian Tire ones. And I was
that's
like,
good.
That's,
Okay.
that's like
That's local.
curated.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
We got to figure out how to ban certain ads. There's certain ads I've seen on videos that I don't
I'm
want.
Doug Ford, and I approve this message.
Well, you're not far off. Oh my God, this is the worst segue of all time.
All right. Hey, LeoVegas.net has the. No,
First of all,
don't.
There's no way the camera can see us right now. Who the hell put the mic like that? Look at that.
Sorry.
Look at this freaking-
I didn't even notice, to
You
be
didn't
honest. I've
Okay,
noticed.
so now
Because I went to look up at the camera. Okay,
can we
sorry.
just get into it? LeoVegas.net.
Oh, okay. We're already getting.
Yeah, we got to
All
talk
right.
about it right off the top. So if
Right,
you want to
so
play hockey with
you
Mats
might be
Sundin,
back
Curtis
and-
Joseph,
Oh, we're
Thomas
talking about two
Coberley,
different things.
dude. Let's not start this way. Come on.
We were.
No,
I'm hauling this
we,
way.
Going
we
well.
were doing so well. You're right.
So it's going to be the June 7th, 8th, 9th weekend. We're all going to be there. You're going to be on the ice with Mats Sundin, Curtis Joseph, Ty Domi, and Thomas Coberley. And I guess there's more to be announced. None that we've seen come through yet. But
So this hotel, convention center place, where is it? Location?
I'm just pulling that open right now. Give me a moment.
It has a hockey rink in it?
No, there's going to be like hockey rinks. Like that's one of the places that you're going to stay at. So it's the Delta, right?
Yes, your hotel accommodations are at the Delta Hotel in Toronto.
Right. So
So where are they playing hockey?
they haven't said, and I think for good reason. When you get NHL alumni, especially Leafs alumni, there will be thousands of people that would show up, and that's why they're probably trying to avoid that. So it's probably hockey at a secret location. I'm gonna guess Lakeshore Lions Arena. That's just me.
Hey, don't, is that a slip of the tongue?
Anyway,
Let's guess them all. It'd
it is guessable.
be great if they did it at like some rinky-dink. Like we're gonna do it at Heron Park Arena.
Just gonna say.
We're just gonna
Well, you know what would be cool is
seating for 20.
if it was Ricoh Coliseum. Like then you're in a stadium, right?
Why stop there?
Yeah, why not the ACC? Why
the
not
ACC
Rogers
The
Center?
Rogers Center.
Right.
Lansdowne Park,
Toronto
the big house in
Island.
Michigan.
There you go.
O2 Arena.
That'd be great. So you remember, you'll be treated to a welcome reception, Hockey Hall of Fame VIP tour hosted by Glenn Healy and Mats Sundin, tickets to a private event at Wayne Gretzky Estates, private meet and greet with Mats Sundin alongside other LeoVegas.net winners, private event at Wayne Gretzky's restaurant, closing lunch with the alumni players, a $1,500 flight voucher, $500 Visa card to spend on whatever you want while you're here. So if you're in Toronto and you win, you get the $1,500 voucher. If you're not in Toronto, you use it to come. Pretty cool, right?
Yeah.
Hotel accommodations paid for, obviously, at the Delta Toronto Hotel, which I have stayed at. And it was amazing because I once didn't live here, so I had to stay there.
I was like, why did you do that?
Yeah, I stayed down the street from where I already live. Transportation to and from the hotel, and obviously a commemorative signed photo with Mats Sundin, which is the coolest thing of all. Because then you get to show off, right?
That
I mean, that's the whole
met
idea.
Mats Sundin.
I was wondering over the weekend what it would feel like, because Mats Sundin was known for his passing. It was like Mats Sundin and Adam Moses, like in that era of the best passers.
I thought he was known as like the best backhander. Jesse, why are you showing me pictures of me? I'm talking to my friend Adam.
I'm trying to delete all the pictures of you off my desktop.
Oh, fair
so I
enough.
can control other things.
That's cool.
You should just
on my
do that
computer.
in general.
So what do you think receiving a pass from Mats Sundin would be like? Because I feel like it'd be like a velvet glove, like just.
I think it would knock the stick out of my hands.
You think so?
But no, but someone who knows how to play hockey would probably be perfect.
Ah.
Yes, knock the stick right out of my hands.
When
I'd
you-
be happy to pick
I
up
think
an accidental
Mats
puck
is
in the
good
corner.
enough that he could send you a nice soft pass.
That's what I think so
Like,
too.
I don't think he'd be whipping pucks at your stick.
They say
know-
he has soft hands.
Well, and he had some bad line mates in his time in Toronto. That was kind of his thing, his shtick. So, yeah, he'd probably be good at it.
I wonder if advanced stats were around when Mats Sundin played. What the I forget what it's called, but the stat for
Oh,
you're
wowies?
the general. Yeah, is it Wowies?
Well, with or without you stats?
Yeah.
Because that's the one I want to see for him.
For him with all the line mates he had in Toronto. Can you imagine what that looks like?
Ladislav Cohn with and without.
Lonnie Bohannes with and without.
Jeremy Williams.
Oh, he played with Jeremy Williams.
There was a
right.
weird stretch where Marius Cherkasky was either a healthy scratch or on Sundin's wing,
Yeah.
which that I never understood.
You know, I remember being excited about that signing because he
It's
was
$1 million.
and he was like a 20 goal scorer in the Islanders.
The
on
Polish
the Islanders.
Prince.
That's right.
I was excited to have him. Didn't work.
Didn't work out. No. Hey, I guess we'll get to the game last night in a second because there is a game tonight that we really can't cover much because it's tonight.
Yeah.
But just like that, Lou's gone.
Yeah. Oh, first of all, I know the Jets season is done.
Wait.
But how does this affect the Leafs?
We're starting
Glad
with
you
Lou.
asked.
Yes, we are starting with Lou because that
Okay.
just broke today.
It is breaking.
And
That's
Mike Francesa just tweeted about it.
No, Jesse.
Mike
no.
Francesa tweeted about it, and he knows nothing about hockey.
Can
Hockey.
I just stand apart from this moment for 1 second?
No, sure. No,
and say
we're in
that
this together.
I disagree with the ordering of this, and I think that
you wanna
an
start with
expansion team going to the finals, the Jets being eliminated, maybe have higher precedence than Lou Lamoriello.
Okay, all right.
Maybe signing with
Jesse.
the Islanders.
I agree with you wholeheartedly, but let's not ignore the fact that it's hilarious, and I applaud our friend for doing so. So what do you want to do?
Well, do you think Winnipeg fans want to hear about how they lost?
Like a little.
You know,
I
Is
don't.
it funny
See,
about
about them, I don't want to hear that
we
part.
still talk about losing to Boston constantly.
Is it
nonstop?
Which time? Oh, is it funnier if we start with the Lou news and then move on?
What we should
Or
start with.
do we talk about the Jets as little as possible before moving on to Lou? Which is better?
I think we
It's
start
always
with
the Lou.
the Leafs signing Pierre Engvall to an ELC. That's what we talk about for
He's
now.
still my beating heart.
So Lou is going to New York.
Lou is going to New York, according to a report from Arthur Staple.
So
he'll
we
be
are
in
doing
the
this.
he'll be in the
Okay.
hockey ops. Yeah, I think it makes sense.
Yeah,
he'll,
go ahead.
he'll be in the hockey ops department. He'll be running that. Now,
Well,
what does that
potentially-
mean?
So was the article updated since I read it? Because I thought he was potentially getting president and GM.
Well, Friedman backed up Staples' article with the tweet that said, I'm not exactly sure how it will all work, but we've all believed Lamoriello will eventually run the NYI Hockey Operations Department.
Interesting.
Does that make him? So hockey ops is like
It's bigger than senior advisor.
right, but that's like that's not like making trades and stuff. That's evaluating talent
Well,
and also taking care of it.
but it's related, right? If you're evaluating talent, of course you're going to be involved in the trade talks, and you don't have Lou Lamoriello there as a decoration.
Well, his first order of business was to talk to Tavares on behalf
Right.
of the Islanders.
Last week,
Which was crazy.
Which is weird. So people are freaked out about this
Yeah.
because he did talk to Tavares, according to Elliot Friedman, on behalf of the Islanders. But what's strange about that is it hadn't been announced that he'd left the Leafs. Now, if they have the paperwork to back that up, which I'm sure they do, everything will be fine. But everybody's worried about tampering.
Yeah, well, I saw a lot of people go, well, he was potentially talking to Tavares on behalf of the Islanders while working for the Leafs. And for a brief second, I was like, wow, can't wait to see who the Leafs pick 11th. I'm excited to see who the Leafs pick 11th. Well, certainly the Islanders are giving up their own first as compensation or something. There's got to be punishment for that. But I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt and Lou the benefit of the doubt and Tavares the benefit of the doubt. All parties involved the benefit of the doubt that they're not that stupid that they would do that.
Well,
And if we-
how do we know he was working for them last week anyway? He could have resigned already.
yeah,
He could have said this. He could have said April 30th when Brendan Shanahan wrote what he wrote and said, you know what, Kyle Dubas is the guy and Lou's going to continue on his senior. He could have just been like May 1st. Sorry, Brendan, I'm going to go to the island and we're just not going to announce it.
And the most Lou Lamoriello thing ever
Disappears.
just disappears without saying anything. Dude, he was hired as Leafs GM before I knew he quit the Devils.
Yeah.
So this shocks me not at all, and it's incredible that he got to work that quickly.
Can I just? I want to throw something out.
No.
Throw something
Yes.
at you. The way Lou did this is of tremendous benefit to Kyle Dubas.
Okay,
Imagine
interesting.
the day that Brendan Shanahan announces Kyle Dubas is the GM.
Lou Lamoriello has left.
Imagine the outcry then. But here it is. It's Victoria Day in Canada. So, a lot of people aren't paying attention to their phones the same way. We haven't even got a sportsnet.ca breaking alert on our phones yet because it's not been confirmed.
Mm-hmm.
So I wonder if there was some intention to that, wherein Lou Lamoriello probably was like, well, he also loves his disappearing act. But I think for the Leafs, too, that benefits because it doesn't make the narrative Kyle Dubas took over and Lou had to go. Although that was sort of suggested at the time.
Yeah. Hockey Twitter can be a bit of an echo chamber. And I would imagine a lot, like most people who listen to the show knew before Monday ended that Lou was working for the Islanders now. But most fans won't know. Most fans won't know until tomorrow. It might not even be in the newspaper if it's not 100% confirmed. Well, I guess they put, as reported by blah, blah, blah. Ooh, then a print newspaper would have to acknowledge The Athletic exists. That
Won't
one's
happen.
tough.
Who is the most read column in Canada?
Elliot Friedman. Next.
I mean real news. I mean real journalism, Steve.
Are we going?
Dmitry Filipovich.
I'm kidding. No. Sorry, yeah.
I'm just looking at all these Photoshop pictures of me on Jesse's computer. No, okay, so if anyone...
Steve gets distracted
you
by
chose
mirrors.
right now to do this?
I had to clear it because I have to get
Jesse,
organized for
Jesse,
the podcast.
I
have a bunch of notes I need to pull up.
You know that he's not going to give this 120%.
This is not a great seat for me to be in.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll leave it.
Jesse, can you stream... are there any games on that you can stream real quick?
Oh, yeah.
So anyway, if there was any team that could use Lou Lamoriello,
It's the Islanders.
it's the Islanders. And what I didn't realize before today was, you want to talk about an opportunity to put your stamp on a team. Like, here I was thinking Lou was going to ride off into the sunset with the Toronto Maple Leafs. That's not going to happen. So if he takes over with the Islanders, it's going to be Lou Lamoriello's team. If Garth Snow leaves. So I was looking at their team. They have 9 non-roster players who need to be re-signed. So that's 9 guys in the minors. They got a goalie who needs to be re-signed or reevaluated, whatever, in Yaroslav Halak. They got 5 defenders who need to be re-signed. And they got 7 forwards, one of them being John Tavares. For those of you keeping score at home, that's 9 non-roster players and 13 roster players.
And 5 picks in the first 3 rounds.
And 5 picks in the first 3 rounds, including 2 in the first, the 11th and 12th. And what was the other thing I had to say about that? The most cap room in the entire NHL heading into next season.
Well, that's because they have 13 players they need to
Right.
resign.
No, but if you're going to dismantle
Facts
a
are
roster,
This would be the time.
this is when you do it.
Yeah, true.
And if you're going to lock up John Tavares to cartoony circus money, this is when you're going to do it. Et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So this isn't just going to be a Lou influence team. This is going to be a Lou Lamoriello MFing team. There's going to be no mistaking it, no subtlety about it. I am not sure how confident I feel about that. I'm a little nervous. I'm a little nervous as a Leafs fan.
Why?
Because it's Lou Lamoriello. And he's not our snake anymore, and he's still in the Eastern Conference. Yeah, I don't like it. I'm
Do
happy
we
with
think
Dubas, but
that the older he gets, like a player, his skills are diminishing.
it's possible.
He's the outlier, man. He's the Patrick Marleau. He's the Yarmer Yager. He's the guy that keeps going and going and going. I think he's the outlier.
Because eventually, in any job, any person,
You become less than
they
effective.
wear out their time, right?
Who's their Dubas is what I was wondering, because I was reading through that article, and I only had a chance to do it quickly before I left, so correct me if I'm wrong, but like Garth Snow would be gone, Doug Waite's the head coach, and then wasn't like the head of hockey ops right now, or like head of player development, wasn't that Eric Cairns? Remember Eric Cairns?
I do remember Eric Cairns, highly touted prospect because he was big. And Eric Cairns and Eric Daze, those are the 2 big Erics who are going to be great.
Shane Corson, I can't remember if it was in the playoff series against the Islanders where he had to shadow Yashin, or if it was in the regular season, but he got suspended a game for kicking Eric Cairns in the shin.
Wow, really?
Well, because Cairns has like half a foot on him, and I don't know, it might not have been the worst idea to kick him in the shin, to be honest. But like, I don't know who else is involved there. Now, things I've heard about Islanders ownership, Lou might not be the worst guy for that job, because if you got an overly active owner, Who's going to dismiss them more than a 76-year-old with 3 cups? This is good news for Islanders. If there's
It's huge. I mean,
Yeah,
Islanders fans deserve this, by the way. They deserve some good news.
Yeah.
Like, if any, I feel bad. They're downtrodden, man.
What was the stat that we found? It was like they've won, in Garth Snow's 12 years as GM, they've won 12 playoff games. Wasn't that it?
Oh, I don't even think it
we
was
were
that
looking
much.
at their season-by-season playoff run. I think it was around there.
Was it 12 playoff games?
I think
Was it
so.
even that high?
They did win one series against the Panthers.
What year did Garth Snow take over?
It was 12 years ago, so whatever that is.
Yeah.
2006, I think?
Yes. I don't know. When did he stop playing?
I think just before that. Yeah, whenever he stopped playing, he became GM.
Since 2006, the 06-07 season, let's say, they have won 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 playoff games.
Oh, never mind.
And 1 series.
How many have the Leafs won
Playoff games?
since 2006? 3?
3 plus
2,
3
3.
plus 2.
So
is
less.
Less.
Hey, Islanders fans, you think you have it bad?
How many GMs, though?
Brought what, 4? Fletcher, Ferguson.
No,
Nonis.
John Ferguson Jr., Fletcher, Burke, Nonis, and then Lou, yeah. And the little
Yikes.
interim thing there.
Yeah.
And now they're on number 6. They're on number 6 since then.
Wow.
And the Islanders might just be getting rid of one now. And
Yeah,
they're taking one of our 6.
The Islanders also went 5 straight years without making the playoffs. 07 to 2012.
Yeah, know what that feels like, too.
So there you go.
I had a random question about Lou, and it would probably take too long to look this up, so I'm just going to say it out loud arbitrarily. When was the last time the Leafs had a general manager who did not have the interim tag, who left the job without being fired?
That's a good question.
I do not know.
Well, because all the guys through the 70s would have been fired because Harold Ballard was a maniac.
I think
70s and 80s.
I think the answer is technically Pat Quinn, because he was GM and head coach for
And then he
1 or 2
stepped
years.
down as GM.
He stepped down for John Ferguson to take the role, and then the guy he stepped down for fired him.
Right, to bring up Paul Maurice.
Oh my
Because
God,
Paul
you're
Maurice
right.
was the Marlies coach. Or was it Marlies or St. John's Leafs at that point? Who cares? Doesn't matter.
Dude, was the Leafs coach when I started making videos Pat Quinn? No.
No,
I think it was Paul Maurice.
it was Paul Maurice.
Yeah. 'Cause I remember doing the video when he got fired. I don't remember if that was my first or second.
What did you say about Paul Maurice when he got fired?
Well, I just, talked about how, it wasn't exactly his fault. It's a much more somber version of Babcock, really. Again, just kind of tight-lipped. And then I just started freaking out about Pavel Kabina and Raycroft and all that crap.
Oh, yeah.
It's a dark time. How does this affect the Leafs? Glad you asked. No, it's great for the Islanders. I'm concerned for the Leafs. But what I am interested in is how the Leafs and Islanders now scratch each other's backs. Because I feel like often when this sort of thing happens, I mean, who are you most likely to make a trade with first? The
Guy you know.
organization you were just with.
Yeah. Yeah.
Matt Martin, please? I don't know.
Well, do you think that obviously he's a guy that they could bring in. He's a relatively low cost, and he's still an effective NHL player. He can contribute. So, what's the...
Maybe you do some retention there.
No, you don't retain on 2.5.
No.
You do not retain on 2.5.
I don't know.
Just take him.
I would
I
just
don't know.
give him away for free. At this point, Matt Martin?
Yeah, just give it to him.
7th.
No, but can you is the question, right?
If they want him, you can have him for a 7th round pick.
Totally.
A conditional 7th.
But I'm saying I don't even know if that offer's on the table.
For the I think they want him back.
I do too.
He wants to go
And they're
back.
going to need to pull guys in who are low cost and have some term.
Well, and they got cap room,
and
even
can
when they
return-
lock up Tavares.
Well, yeah, but then and get their swagger back. Remember, Calvin DeHaan's there too, and that's not going to be a cheap deal. I
love
keep
that-
bringing him up. I keep banging this drum, man. That guy's going to be a good signing.
I love that you became the Calvin DeHaan guy. That's not something I ever expected on a show that has me on it. I'm the Calvin DeHaan guy.
I think Calvin DeHaan is going to be if you can get him away from the island. He's what is he UFA at 25?
He's 27.
27. And during his prime,
really?
He's already 27, eh? I remember when he was a prospect. Calvin DeHaan.
You want him on the Leafs, Calvin DeHaan?
Yeah, I do.
To play where?
Is he left or right? I don't care.
He's a lefty.
Yeah, good. Well, then we lock up Calvin DeHaan and we flip somebody else.
Wait, what?
Or we play him on the right side. Who cares? We played Hainsey on the right side. I'm sure Calvin DeHaan can play the right side.
No. Yeah,
I don't want that.
We've slipped into our. You're not allowed to make fun of me for Pierre Engvall ever again.
Why?
How do we shove this Calvin DeHaan bag?
Because we're talking about upgrade. We're talking about scratching each other's back.
You want Calvin DeHaan on the Leafs next year?
I do.
To play where?
I would actually like to see Gardner Riley together because their numbers together suggest that they'd be very good.
I think there would
And
be
I'd like
no
to see-
defense on that line. I think
there
they
would.
would give up way too many goals,
I think that
and there would be way too many bad situations.
Riley just came off the best season of his career because he was playing on the left side. I wouldn't want to take him off the left.
Yeah, that's why I put Gardner on it.
And then
You
he's
put
going
Gardner on the right?
He's going to be
He doesn't
paired.
know how to play the right.
Doesn't know how to play the left either.
That's rude.
Fair and also rude. Both of you are correct.
I don't think.
I'm not asking Gardner to play defense.
I don't think there's
I'm asking him to
room.
score.
I don't think there's room. But you're asking two defensemen who both score to play together.
Yes.
Who's playing D?
Look at I swear to you, there have been articles done
Glad you
on the
asked.
numbers.
Roman Polak.
The numbers that Gardner and Riley put up together are pretty incredible.
Adam, there's no one playing defense.
100 points in two players.
You're
in
playing
those guys.
You're playing 18 forwards at once. It doesn't make sense.
They'll never expect it. Connor Brown on defense. He plays everything else.
He'll do it. Zach Hyman
I like that he takes pucks out and
plays left and right D at the same time.
He's allowed to carry two sticks because he's Zach Hyman.
That's right.
If they told Mike Babcock that they've perfected cloning, the sentence wouldn't even be out of it. Do it for Jaime. Do it for Jaime. Let's go.
Glendening too.
Yeah.
Although 3 years ago, Glendening. I don't think now Glendening.
Yeah. Do we have a pop can he drank out of in 2015?
In conclusion, I don't think there's room for Calvin DeHaan on this team.
I think you can find
Unless you move somebody.
Yeah.
Which is a different
Could move
story.
Gardner.
Well,
He's got a year left on his deal. Move him for a right-handed defenseman. Move him to Vancouver for Chris Tanev.
Put it this way. Wow. All right.
Drinks coffee. Let's get crazy.
Yeah!
You can't just say things. Woohoo! We're
Yes,
almost
you
at the
can.
Stanley Cup. I can say anything. I can say anything.
Wow. May 2-4 long weekend, and the entire time the fireworks were right here in this room.
Might make hypothetical trades great again.
No. No, well, they have taken a dip. I remember back in my day, the hypothetical trades were great. Listen, Islanders fans, you wanted change. Mm-hmm. I've been seeing a lot of you talk about change because you've had Garth Snow forever. You're about to get change, man. We talked about it with Dubas. This is the perfect time for someone to take the keys. Mm-hmm. This is the same thing with the Islanders.
I wonder if Lou kind of takes the same tact that he did with the Leafs. He's got two first-rounders this year that, are... it took Jake DeBrusk, 3 years to be ready? Jake DeBrusk was, what was he, or 2 at least? The Lucic deal. When did the Lucic deal...
Was that 2015?
Yeah, so they drafted...
Oh, yeah,
so
you're
it's
right.
3 years.
Sort of, yeah.
He's really he's starting to come into his own. So
got better as the season went on.
Yeah, so what I would do...
Great playoff.
And this is idiotic, but because who cares what I would do? But doesn't it make sense with the Islanders this much transition? You don't have to do what you did with the Toronto Maple Leafs and sign a bunch of fucking bums because you do have Tavares, right? I mean, you do, right? And you don't have to rob San Jose of 2 second-rounders for Roman Polak. But what you could do is if, let's say Tavares walks. That sort of makes up your mind, right? Yeah. You can kind of you build around Matt Barzal. That's what that team is. And you've got Josh Bailey locked up.
Do you re-sign Eberle?
I think you try, yeah.
He's a UFA, and he made what?
Next year.
6?
Next year.
Oh, yeah.
You could if you're stripping it back, trade him.
Yeah.
Trade him back to the Oilers. See what else you can get from him.
Now, something that just dawned on me. Lou Lamoriello has already met with John Tavares. Do you think Lou Lamoriello takes that job without some kind of handshake? Yeah, I'm going to stay.
Yes, I do think he takes that. Yes.
Yeah, I think
he absolutely takes that job.
So basically, Tavares staying on the island confirmed.
No.
I think
we're disagreeing with you.
Yeah, I think Lou takes the job regardless of whether or not.
Yeah, I think he likes it.
Yeah.
Here's
I
the thing.
so.
In pro sports, and they talk about this with the Raptors actually a lot. getting from bad to good is the part that happens the easiest. It's good to great that's the hardest. And so Lou Lamoriello can spend the next 3 years getting the Islanders from bad to good, to playoffs every year. And then that could be somebody else's issue when they have to go good to great.
I wish there was a camera facing over my shoulder towards you, just for the gif of, no, we're disagreeing with you.
Yeah, because you weren't listening when we both said no.
I guess not.
What he heard was yes.
Yes,
Steve.
Steve.
No, I made my point.
Wow,
And it was
genius.
great. It was a great point. I made such a great point, and that's all I heard. I said it over and over again in my head. And you said, I don't know, some bullshit.
Okay, think about what you said though. How would Lou take that job and be able to talk to John Tavares if he's working for the Toronto Maple Leafs?
No, maybe there was this, time where he wasn't with the Leafs.
So he would resign and throw away a few $1 million because that's what he was getting paid with the Leafs.
He doesn't care
he's
about
Lou.
money.
He's got...
Guys.
If he wants a job, he's got a job.
Guys.
No, but that's
He cares.
No, but that's true. Like if he wants to go make that money somewhere else, he can go do whatever he wants and make that money. He's at a position where that's not a factor in his decision making.
Or maybe the Leafs gave him permission to talk to the Islanders and have
Right,
this
but he
conversation.
couldn't talk to Tavares.
That's an interesting one because
Cannot do that.
If the Islanders and Leafs are both okay with it,
The NHL is not okay with it.
I don't know.
Because that could be, because what if Lou goes, okay, great, thanks for the offer, guys, click. All right, well, he wants to re-sign on the island, guys. We're really going to have to push that. There's no way they'd allow that. There's no
Interesting.
way. That
Yeah.
would be tampering.
All right, I guess you're right. Well, I'd say Islanders fans should be a lot more optimistic than that Tavares stays. How about that?
Sure.
How's that?
I like that. But this is a good time to replenish, and they really don't even need to tear it down. They're a good team.
No.
They just need a goalie.
They need
like
Thomas
everybody.
Greiss to not stink, and they need a goalie who's better than Halak, ideally.
It's funny, you know, with so many
That's it. Sorry. Were you waiting for something else?
2 years ago, we were talking about how soft the goalie market was. And it's funny because we got Freddie Anderson was gotten for, when you look at retrospect, it's a pretty good deal.
It is at worst fair.
If the goalie market is ever soft, as an NHL team, you must. If you're not a playoff team, that has got to be your priority. Are you kidding me?
Finding a goalie?
How do you not? Yeah. Like, how do you not? If the goalie market's soft, then it's still not like crazy hot. But
It literally sinks or swims your team.
Here's a question.
Yeah.
Are there
Well,
30 bona fide number one goalies?
No.
I don't think so.
No.
There might be 20.
Well, what's a number one goalie? Like, is 915 league average number one goalie? Is there an upper echelon of goalie? Is there a tier of goalie that's below the top one, but they can play like the top one sometimes?
I think the answer to all of that is yes.
Okay.
But if you're looking for league average goalie, let's talk league average goalie because that's what we said Freddie Anderson needed to be when he came here, right? We need league average goalie.
Sure.
That's what the Islanders need. They need a league average goalie because then they could build it. If he's consistently a 915 to say 917, right? Somewhere in there, then you can build something. If you don't have that, you really can't build much. Look at Winnipeg. Look at how great they were last year. The team basically didn't change from last year to this year except for Paul Stastny and Steve Mason. And Connor Hellebuck was amazing. And look at how great they were. It's crazy.
I'm trying to remember where I read this. I know I read it the other day, but Lou supposedly is a huge fan of Corey Crawford. Wonder if something could be figured out there. And I heard this just last week, within the last couple weeks. I'm trying to remember where that was reported from. That could be very interesting. I think it was Wood Guy on Twitter. I'm trying to remember who it was. Said hockey should just be called mostly goalie.
Yeah.
Because maybe this could be a good transition into Vegas. In these playoffs, they did expected goals saved. Expected goals against saved. The second place guy has stopped 5 more goals than expected. Fleury has stopped 17. He's unbelievable.
It's like Jonathan Quick with the Kings in 2011.
2012. Yeah.
Was that 2012? Okay.
This is unbelievable. Or Tim Thomas in 2011. Holy
Yeah.
crap. I'd love
Yeah.
to know what his numbers were for that. I've had a lot of people, or I've seen a lot of people try to maybe downplay what Vegas has done a little bit because Marc-Andre Fleury has bailed them out. But that's what we expected from game one onward. So at worst, Vegas is winning games the way we thought they would. What happens when next round they just explode offensively and they're incredible again? Because they couldn't muster a goal against the Kings.
Mm-hmm.
I think they had a couple decent little outbursts against the Sharks, and they didn't really have one against the Jets. Dude.
But they still managed, like, they're guys who you expected to score. Your Marchessaults, your Ryan Reeves.
Not in Game 5.
Not in Game 5.
The Marchessault, Carlson, Riley Smith line has scored in every game in the last, I think, 6 games.
And those are
they didn't score in
line.
Game 5.
They did.
They did?
Yeah, what was not the Reeves goal, the other one?
The first goal.
The first goal.
Wasn't that Tuck?
Yeah, but so one of them was like on the ice. I think it definitely counted. But they've scored in every game in that series. Yeah, and then
One of them has been involved.
I'm trying to remember
yeah.
the 5 Knights who got points in Game 5 because I was tweeting about this earlier. There were 3 guys have played less than 100 NHL games, and that's regular season and playoff combined. It was Alex Tuck, 27-year-old Ryan Carpenter, and Stefan Nozick.
That guy I've heard of before.
I know.
Carpenter.
When I saw him come up on the board, I'm like, couldn't tell you what position he plays. No idea. No idea. Couldn't tell you where. Oh, the Sharks. That's where he came from. Yep, I knew that. So it was Tuck, Carpenter, and Nozick. And the 2 guys who had played over 100 games who got points were Lucas Biza and Ryan Reeves. Silly, goofy magic. And it's fun. It is fun.
I don't know, Steve. I don't know, Jesse. I don't know if it is magic. I don't know if this Vegas Golden Knights story is cute anymore. It stopped being fun when they eliminated my team from X City. That's when it stopped being fun. When their team did better than my team from X City.
There's two fan bases that are still cool with Vegas, and that's Washington and Tampa. Until one of them gets eliminated.
Then it'll be a problem. Then we got to change the rules.
Screw them. Well, and what I can't get around is people going, well, they got this player and they're pretty good, and this player, dude, you didn't know, nobody knew, even, like, forget William Karlsson, that's the easy one. Jonathan Marchessault. Like, did any of us think Jonathan Marchessault was the kind of player that you built a team around?
He was a guy that scored 30 goals once.
Yeah.
And you're like, and there are players that do that. There are players that score 30 goals once.
Would you take Jonathan Marchessault on your team? Sure. And that was the end of it. Built a team around. What? What are you talking about? Riley Smith went from, like, overpaid to one of the most underrated two-way forwards in the league. Dude, it's nuts. It's goofy, silly magic, and it'll be such a bummer if it ends here.
So, question then. Is it embarrassing for the NHL?
It would be.
By the way, the correct answer is no, but continue.
Yeah, I'm starting to change my mind on that because I'm like, okay, what could have been done to avoid this embarrassment?
Why is it an embarrassment?
Okay, it would be an embarrassment if the team they assembled, despite having over a year to prepare for the expansion draft, the team they assembled was good. And McPhee just proceeded to fleece every team in the league. And he fleeced a bunch of them. But despite how badly he fleeced some teams, none of us looked at this team on paper and said they were anything more than good. A few people were like, you know what? Better than expected. Yeah, they got Perron, Neal.
I remember thinking they could have done way better in that expansion draft.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Way better.
Well, and that was an interesting little thing because I think coming out of the expansion draft, I remember going, oh, so they're building for the future.
Right.
Because they could have gotten a better team now.
Like they signed Derek Engelland, and I was like, so you didn't pick from Calgary, and you signed Derek Engelland? That's what you did?
How about steal someone from Calgary
and
get Derek Engelland?
Yeah.
Can you name one defenseman on Vegas who would be a top 4 on Nashville?
Ooh, Nate Schmidt, maybe? But he wouldn't be better than those guys.
Nashville's top 4 is Subban, Ekholm,
Ellis,
Yossi.
Yikes. Pretty hard to beat that.
Vegas is Braden McNabb, Nate Schmidt, Derek Engelland, Zach Whitecloud, Brad Hunt, Lucas Spiza, Clayton Stoner, Colin Miller, Shea Theodore.
I don't think Clayton Stoner's even played this year.
I just named all their defensemen that's on their roster.
I don't think he's played a game.
Click Zach Whitecloud.
I don't even know if that jersey exists.
What about Zach Whitecloud? The great Zach Whitecloud, who's played one NHL game.
He did?
You don't know Zach Whitecloud?
No. When did they pick him? Was he a signing? Who is this man?
He's on
Never
Where
heard
did
that
they get him?
I have never heard that name before. How did they get him?
Team on March 8th.
2018. Oh, so he's a university signing.
Yes. And he played this season. He out of Bemidji?
What?
Bemidji State University? BSU.
Spell it. Spell it for everyone who thinks you're joking.
Bemidji.
Wow.
Bemidji.
I've never heard of that.
Nope.
I'm assuming that's in the States?
BSU.
State University? So yeah.
It's a state university.
Okay.
That's like what Missy Elliott says when she's talking backwards.
Can you work it? Bemidji State University.
What on earth? And that guy's played in the NHL
Anyways,
game.
so you look at that on paper still to this day, the Stanley Cup Finals team, representative of the Western Conference. I wouldn't take one of their defensemen and put them in the top 4 lineup in Nashville.
No.
That's ridiculous.
No. No, you wouldn't.
Gee. And you know what's funny is, okay, so
I mean, there's a lot about this that's funny.
So
the whole
yeah.
thing.
So you pick wisely here.
Yeah, you're right. No, it's rare, during the season that I'll sit down and watch a game start to finish that doesn't involve with the Leafs. Like, there's just not enough time, right? And also the Leafs play often. There's 82 games, but Vegas, I've been watching closer and closer all season, and especially the playoffs as teams drop. I'm like, well, I'm just watching Vegas because I'm fascinated with them. They're the team I watch the most. And I'm like, all right, let's really hunker down and figure out what makes them special. And I got nothing.
You know what it is? It's transition.
They're
Goaltending
faster
and
than
transition.
everybody.
They're
And they have
crazy fast, and they try their bag off every shift.
Yeah.
Every shift is life or death. It is the final 30 seconds of Game 7 of the Stanley Cup Final with a 1-goal lead. Every single shift.
Which they will be in next week.
It's going to happen.
What makes you think
Okay.
that
it's going to
an
happen?
Eastern Conference team is going to push them to 7?
It's ridiculous.
Does Vegas come in as the favorite?
Yes. 100%. Especially with the time off they've been
They
getting.
might have to be the
They
favorite.
swept the first round. They played They went 7 in the second, and then now 5.
I don't think they
No,
went
I think
7.
it was 6.
It was 6,
And then 5.
and then 5. Like they're just coasting,
Dude,
They've
they
only
beat
lost 3
the
games.
Jets in 5.
It's dumb.
The Jets.
The Jets! The Winnipeg Jets! Everyone's talking about how they look tired or whatever. Dude, did you watch Game 4? Mark Scheifele almost won that game by himself, and they lost. I don't get it.
You know
Dude,
what-
also, Mark Scheifele owns the record for most road goals in a single playoff run, didn't make it to the final. That's nuts!
Yeah.
I think I knocked out in 5!
You know, it's funny. Winnipeg did not have a lead after game 1.
Yeah.
Yeah,
was
wasn't it like the
crazy
final
stat.
200 and
Whatever.
15 minutes
Yeah.
or something of the series? What? It's
60 times 4. 60 minutes times 4.
Yeah,
It is.
it was just game 1, they won, and then
And-
the
and
rest
that
of
was it.
Yeah,
That was it.
yeah.
And that's also at least the second time in these playoffs a team has won game 1 of a series, only to lose the next 4 and get eliminated
What was the other one?
in 5. It was Boston against Tampa.
Oh, right.
Boston beat Tampa and then whoop, lost the next 4.
Um,
And that was the excuse made for Boston is, they look tired. Oh, they just came out of a series.
Do you
so
care
they won
that
7.
You know
Kyle
what?
Connor and Ehlers had 3 combined goals in the entire playoffs after scoring 31 and 29 respectively?
I definitely remember seeing Kyle Connor and being like, okay, I definitely thought he was going to be more of a factor. I didn't notice him very much. Ehlers, I think, was playing injured, and there were a couple shifts where
he's dominant, eh? He's scary.
he's a good player. He's a really, really, really good player. If the Leafs had passed on Nylander and gotten him, it would have been fine.
Yeah.
But he couldn't score.
But he
Could
couldn't
not score.
Well, I
Well,
mean,
maybe it's got like a wrist injury or something like that. One of those where they can't shoot anymore. Who knows? Like, well, I guess we'll find out tomorrow.
nothing looked wrong with his feet.
No,
So,
and
yeah,
that was
he
the thing. Like
fast.
even yesterday, he was breaking through. I forget who was on the ice for the Vegas Golden Knights because who's on defense for them anyway? And
Mr. White Cloud.
Lucas
Spiza.
Yeah. Vancouver Canuck cast-off wasn't good enough for the Canucks defense going to the Stanley Cup Finals.
I remember that pick and just going, "What are you doing? They're happy you did it." Wow.
Yep.
Takes the shot
So-
that Ryan Reeves tips in.
Who are you picking? Vegas or whoever comes out
Ryan
of
Reeves
these?
has made it further than the Penguins. I'm sorry.
Maybe Don Cherry was right this whole time.
I'm sorry.
I think he was.
I don't
I
know.
mean, the proof's in the pudding, man. Ryan Reeves got them further than.
I told you.
Is Ryan Reeves good?
He's an
He
effective
scored-
player.
Really good.
He scored the series-winning goal
Over the
in the
Winnipeg
Western Conference
Jets.
Finals because of his great ability to tip a puck accidentally.
St. Louis. St. Louis didn't make the playoffs. Pittsburgh traded him at the deadline. I mean, because he was at St. Louis last year. That's why I said St. Louis. I mean, very clearly, Ryan Reeves. Ryan Reeves is the guy you need.
Vegas is paying. Is Vegas paying Derek Brassard more than Ryan Reeves?
Probably.
They're paying a lot of guys
this
more
is-
than Ryan Reeves.
This is the dumbest timeline.
They're paying David Clarkson more than
Does
they're paying Ryan
does
Reeves.
David Clarkson get a ring?
No.
No.
No, but
He
you
didn't
have
play
to
a
play.
single game.
You have to play.
Send him a ring. The
White
rings,
Cloud-
rings are different.
White Cloud gets a ring.
Names on the. Oh my God.
Wow.
No, I think what is it? 25 games.
No,
your,
but that's
your name's on the cup.
That's
right?
names on the cup. Rings you can
Everybody
send out
gets a
to
ring.
janitors and whoever.
Yeah.
You do not play a game.
Yeah.
Does
I
David
think it
Clarkson
would
get
be
a
kind
ring?
of cruel to not send David Clarkson a ring.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
You give him a championship hat. He gets a championship.
You can buy that.
Yeah, but he doesn't
He's such
have
a
to
good
now.
guy. Like
Because
I
they
feel
were good
bad.
guys. Gave him one.
They sent him one.
Yeah.
In the mail.
By the way, when is that deal up? Is it up?
Clarkson?
Yeah.
David Clarkson?
No.
It is up after
Next season.
next season.
So there's 2 more years.
2020.
Holy moly.
5.25.
Adam brought up a great point there on Twitter. So we all know social media people get rings. Vegas is on their second of the season. Does the original guy who left and wasn't fired get a ring?
That's the question. Was he fired? Because we don't really know.
Wasn't it reported that he wasn't and left?
It's like he put out his little thing and be like, "Hey, I've left and I'm gonna tell you guys about my next adventure." But he might have just got fired and then wrote his little thing about, "Hey,
And
I
they might
left."
have they
You
might have
know?
let him do that.
Yeah.
Not going to speculate, but I know the answer. And I'm not going to drop
You
it
know
here.
the answer?
Yes, I do.
Okay,
And I will
sweet.
not. I will tell you after the show.
All right.
Oh, that's
I'm gonna write
awful.
that.
Yeah, sorry.
I'm mad on behalf of the listeners.
No, but we get to know. So
No,
I'll
these
go
are-
for
this
it.
I'm going to start a Reddit page called the Steve Dangle Podcast without Adam. Minus Adam.
Actually, that's just our Reddit page.
And then everyone would get super bored because what would they hate?
It would just be nice things all the time.
You know what? In every other thing I do, I'm not the heel. But for some reason on this show, I've become the most hated member, and I can't figure out why.
I was rewatching the Tom Wilson thing, and my own reactions I was pearl clutching, going, "Oh my goodness, Adam!" Texting him after the show, I'm like, "That was a great heel turn there."
Adam, maybe if you actually had correct movie opinions, people would like you.
Wow. Andrew Berkshire said, I'm going to hate Infinity War, by the way. He's like, you have to be invested in the characters to enjoy
I
it.
hope you hate Infinity War just to back up your heel turn. Like, regardless of whether or not you like it, you need to go on Twitter and be like, Infinity War is terrible.
And I'm gonna do-
It is the LeBron James failure of movies.
I was about to say, you need to be Skip,
Skip Bayless.
and Thanos is LeBron. I know Thanos.
Maybe if Thanos was clutch, Infinity War would be good.
Right. And I'm gonna do
Thanos has a losing record in the NBA final.
Thanos is not better than Michael Jordan.
Wow.
Yeah. And also, 15 tweets. Has to be a 15-tweet thing about why I didn't like Infinity War. That's retweeted 1,000 times.
Thread. Oh, yeah, thread, and you need to divulge as little information as possible on the first one.
Yes. It's good. Smart marketing.
Marc-Andre Fleury's save percentage was .938 during the series.
And it's 947 overall, isn't
It's
it?
.947 overall. His save percentage went down during that series.
Can we
'cause he
talk
was a
about something for a
bum.
second? Here's the narrative right now. As soon as the Jets lose, what do you think people said? What do you think people said specifically about Marc-Andre Fleury?
Conn Smythe.
Well, that he was hurt, is what came up during the broadcast.
Okay, wasn't that? But Jesse's closer.
Steroids.
It was Conn Smythe.
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
But it's
Pittsburgh should have kept him.
no. Well.
Oh my God! Oh, I hope so. Oh, Adam, if you say anything else, it'll be a waste of time.
It will be. Oh, so I'm going to waste your time.
Oh, how dare you!
But people
no,
are
that's what I
already
wanted
saying,
right here.
People are already saying that if Marc-Andre Fleury loses the Stanley Cup, he'll still win the Conn Smythe. As in, people are already betting against the Vegas Golden Knights in the Stanley Cup final. Have
Can
you
we
not?
stop that?
Have you not learned your lesson?
Why every year do we need to be like, so-and-so was so good that they should win the Constantinople Smythe trophy?
Before the series even starts.
Erik Karlsson was so pants-shittingly amazing in the first 3 rounds that no one else deserves to even look at the Conn Smythe trophy but him. Sidney Crosby, my ass. The guy who's not even in the final should be flown here and given. Crosby should have to take off his skates and give them to Karlsson so he can skate up and accept the Conn Smythe. Shut up.
People gave that to
wait for
Carlson in like
the
round
Stanley
2.
Cup
I
It
know.
was ridiculous last year. It was crazy.
Enough.
Go back and watch the crazy shit that J.S. Jaguar pulled in 2003 to drag that
Mike Babcock
dumpster
coached.
fire.
Mike
Doesn't-
Babcock coached.
Dude, you could have
Listen,
brought back Punch Imlach.
I
You
know.
wouldn't have got a better result out of that team. Dude, Paul Correa, J.S. Jaguar, and their band of merry men.
Was Tamu on that team?
No.
He'd already left, eh?
I don't think. I'm trying to. Jesse, can you look up the 2002-2003 Anaheim Mighty Ducks?
Can I just say, to be fair,
Yes.
right now, the Conn Smythe Trophy is Marc-Andre Fleury's to lose.
If Vegas wins, correct. Yes.
That going into the Stanley Cup final,
I think
it
that's
is
fair. I think that's a
his
fair
to
statement.
lose.
Yeah.
I want to
agree.
look at the stats of people on players on the Caps and players on the Lightning, because I think that's insulting to them.
Imagine. Okay. Imagine this.
insulting.
Imagine
It's
this.
Who am I
insulting.
Imagine this. Okay. The Caps win, but let's say it's Caps Vegas.
Mm-hmm.
Caps win, but Ovechkin doesn't get a Conn Smythe, and people say, "Well, that's why he's not as good as
Well,
Crosby."
Score's still 2-0 there, Ovi.
Crosby's still better.
Can you imagine if that's how minute it gets in terms of greatness? The O.
Can you imagine? What do you mean? Can you imagine? Are you on Twitter?
They turned the O in con to a 0.
Which year?
Just tweeted at him.
02-03. You want to know the Anaheim Ducks roster?
Yeah.
Yes.
Go through the lineup.
I want to know playoff scoring.
Okay.
Can we just go? Can we just maybe go through the roster?
Or yeah.
I'll get you that in half a second. Here it is. Playoff scoring on the Anaheim Ducks roster.
Stop looking, Steve.
Oh, sorry.
It
Luckily,
has to get you as a surprise
I didn't see anything.
because you don't have your
I
glasses.
saw
on.
one player.
You don't have your glasses on, right?
No, I don't.
Yeah, that's right. That's good.
Here they are.
Steve Andrew Ruchin.
Oh, Steve Ruchin.
Steve Ruchin.
Steve Andrew Ruchin.
Why do they have Steve Andrew Ruchin?
I added his middle name.
Oh, okay.
It's actually Andrew.
Oh.
Yes.
No, I didn't
Fun
know that.
fact.
Steve Ruchin
Sar!
was he not Paul Correa's line mate though? Steve Ruchin was
I mean, maybe.
He was.
he was the guy that was the center between Correa and Solani.
He was. He led the team in goals with 7.
7?
Yes.
They made it to the Stanley Cup final.
Mm-hmm. He had
Mark
7 goals.
Scheifele had 11 road goals.
Wasn't it 14? Oh, no. He has
14 total.
Yeah.
So he had twice as many.
Paul Correa was second with 6 goals, and then Adam Oates with 4, and a bunch of other guys at 4.
Top goal scorer. Dude, the
Adam
early
Oates.
2000s. Thank God hockey's different. Oh, my God.
Adam Oates, Peter Sikora, and Mike Leclerc.
Mike Leclerc.
Leclerc. There's a C on the
So
end.
Adam
Oh,
Oates
I
was
know.
Adam Oates was on the Ducks.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. He was on
Forgot
the,
about that.
He was on the team.
Short little stick.
They all tied for the lead in assists with 9. And
That's amazing. How do you get 9 assists on a team with the leading goal scorer at 7 goals?
Oates, Sikora, and Paul Correa were 13, 13, and 12 with points on the team. And
Wow.
then John Sebastian Zaguer had a 945 with 5. Is that say 5 shutouts?
Yeah, that would make sense.
Yeah, and
5
3 of them came against the
shutouts.
Minnesota Wild.
With 5 damn shutouts.
Go and look at the Ducks versus Wild from that year, the Western Conference Final.
We're going deep now.
Now we are going deep. But
The Wild made the Western Conference Final.
And I think that was the year the Wild won Game 7 in the first round, and that was the last game Patrick Waugh ever played.
Wow.
It was against the Avalanche. And that was a disgrace. Their strategy was, all right, all 5 players into the slot. Hope it hits one of you and skate like hell out of the zone.
The Western Conference Final that year was the 6th seed of the Minnesota Wild versus the 7th seed of the Anaheim Ducks.
Who were on the
7
Minnesota
seed.
Wild? That's what I want to know.
Oh, dude, Andrew Brunette,
Oh, God. So they were expansion Minnesota
Manny
Wild.
Fernandez, and
Who's the goalie?
Manny Fernandez.
who was the
Oh, Manny Fernandez. Oh, sorry.
Dwayne Rolson.
I'm mixing up Manny Malhotra and Manny Fernandez. 2 Mannys.
this is the
Marion
greatness.
Gaborik?
Oh, that's right.
Oh,
and he
that's
was
right.
young. Young Gabrick.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm bringing this up so we can talk about the greatness you need to achieve to be the Conn Smythe winner on a team that doesn't win the thing.
Yeah.
The greatness.
I don't know. I think Mark Andre Fleury is
And
doing
honestly,
right.
of all the Conn Smythe
He
winners,
is great.
his is the most miserable picture. Of all the Conn Smythe winners, Jaguars he's miserable.
He's literally crying. Like he's on the verge of tears, winning one of the hardest trophies to win in the sport, certainly.
Can you name all of the Conn Smythe winners who were not on the winning team?
No.
Isn't it like 3?
There's been 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of them.
Okay, well, Jaguar.
Mm-hmm.
Wasn't it like Ron Hextall?
Oh, look at Steve with the brain. Look at the big brain on Steve.
What year would that have been?
Kahuna
Would that have been the 80s? 87?
That was 87 with the Flyers, yes.
Whoa!
Reggie Leach, also with the Flyers.
Which would have been
Won in
what, 70s?
76.
That's mean.
And then Glenn Hall in 68. And
Another
then
goalie.
Roger Cozier with the Red Wings.
And Glenn Hall would have been with the
in
St. Louis
66.
Blues.
I think so.
So
68.
out of all of those winners, how many? I said there's 5. 4 of them have been goalies.
Wow.
So,
Maybe.
Florida's Garshot.
The NHL is goalies and anything else. Goalies and everything else.
Mostly goalie.
Mostly goalie.
So often you go into a game and you're like, hey, okay, these guys got this line. They've been playing this. Of course, he's great. What are they going to do? And then a goalie just stands on his head and they win the game. And it's like, oh, goalie won.
Yep.
And that's it. That's hockey.
That that hilarious Andrew Hammond game in the first round where the Avs beat the Preds. Like, dude, how do you even get mad?
Andrew Hammond stood on his head after not playing for 18 years.
That's what stood out to me the most about the Jets after Game 5 and getting eliminated is how few of them.
It's been 80 years.
Like, it's been 84 years. How few of them looked upset. Like, they were just kind of like, dude, it happens. And it happened to us. Shucks. Nuts. Like, it's so often after a playoff elimination, the discussion quickly turns to, how do we ruin this amazing team?
Mm-hmm.
And it was so refreshing to see people go, what do the Jets need? Nothing. Absolutely nothing.
Just another shot.
Change nothing.
A couple
Maybe
things-
let Toby Enstrom walk.
Play the series again and they might win.
Yeah.
Yes.
I think
That's
play it
yes.
10 times and they'll win 10 more times.
Yeah.
I think here's the thing too. The
Game 4.
The Jets
Still unbelievable.
what killed them a little bit in this series too was there was at least twice where
Mistakes.
they'd score a goal and then Vegas would come back and score a goal within a minute and a half.
Happened at least 3 times.
Yeah, literally.
That will kill your series. It will.
It will. And I don't know what his numbers were, but Connor Hellebuck
He looked human.
looked very human. There was even a goal in Game 5 that like went off his shoulder, and he ended up making the save, but he had no idea where that thing was.
Yeah. And then the first goal was his fault. Like, he threw the puck when he played it off the around the net, and he throws it out front, goes right to a Vegas player, and they shoot it, and it goes in. And then it's a 1-goal game.
Yep.
You lose 2-1, and one of the goals is your fault.
Yep. You know,
And
I
the other
think
one's a tip in by Ryan Reeves. Like, what are you gonna
What
do
are the
for that?
chances?
You know, one's just a bad luck play by a goal, and the other one's a tip in by a fourth liner who hadn't scored a goal since he joined the team. and then now we're going to Stanley Cup final.
And he, of the 60 minutes, maybe played 7 of them. Like,
goddamn.
And how much of that would be in the ozone?
Why is your fourth line out in the Western
Yeah,
Conference final?
I know.
And they score. It doesn't make sense.
Poor Jets.
I do feel bad for their fans because it was a, like...
I feel bad for their fans except for 2.
Which 2?
The 2 who wore the Matthews and Marner masks to the whiteout in, I think it was the second round.
Why?
They wore a Matthews mask and a Marner mask and brought those little mini plastic golf clubs, and they pretended to be golfing. There's room on the course,
That's kinda
friends.
good.
There's room on the course.
No, but that's kind of
That's
good
kind of
chirp.
funny. I'll give him that.
Why? It's the
Steve,
Leafs.
you're just mad because they're chirping your team.
Okay, Matthews makes
If
some
it was Marchand,
sense.
they would have been cool with it.
Matthews makes some sense because the whole line A better thing. Marner?
Steve.
You're just making it up now.
Steve.
Like, you're just
You
mad
know what
at
it is,
Toronto
Steve?
for existing.
They're
day-
non-Jets. That's why. They're non-Jets and they play for the Leafs. It doesn't matter who they
I
are
didn't
personally.
see their Oliver Ekman-Larson mask.
The day the Jets won the Stanley Cup, what did you want to do?
Be a dick to Jets fans.
Thank you. So how can you say they're going too far? It doesn't make
I
sense.
hatched this plan after seeing that, though. I hatched that plan
Listen.
after seeing that.
It's-
They created this monster. It's their fault.
As Paul Hendricks said, be secure in your insecurities.
You know, Adam, that's a great way to live your life, and you're absolutely right.
Thank you, Paul Hendrick.
It's true. Doo-doo. Yeah, that's the Leafs TV jingle. Damn, that's pretty good. Leafs Nation Network jingle.
Coming back on the Leafs Nation Network.
Then, okay, so with Vegas in the finals, we've got Game 6 tonight between the Capitals and Lightning. If the
And
Lightning
well-
win, it's gone.
Yeah.
It's over. Lightning in. Capitals win 2 games in a row. They're in. Either could happen. What do we think's going to happen? And what do we think ultimately happens?
Can I tell you exactly what's going to happen?
What's going to
And
happen?
it's the meanest thing ever. Okay, usually what I say does not happen.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to say something, and it will happen because there's 2 combating forces. The Dangle jinx and the Capitals crap in the bed. Their power is just too strong. I'm no match for them. The Capitals will win Game 6.
You think so?
Yes. And lose Game 7. Tampa will win.
See, I have
That's what's going to happen. You know this, right?
I have a gut feeling about the Lightning closing it out tonight. And I've been cheering for the Caps because I wanted it to be Caps Vegas. I think it would have been great. Mostly
I'm
because it would have been Ovechkin finally gets his cup, but not the Conn Smythe. Sorry, try again. That would have been great. Just because people are a-holes. But I think
tough.
You
It's
think they
tough.
close it out tonight?
I think they close it out tonight. Do you not think so?
I don't know. I think it goes to a Game 7 because I think Washington's going to come back and be like, "Hey,
I think
They're
lost
going to have to
3 in a
play
row."
desperate for
But
sure.
I see Tampa taking Game 7. But I see them Washington winning tonight.
I feel like a team that wins 3 games in a row against a team as good as the Capitals are. That's a tough task.
Tampa, well,
And Washington should have won, by the way, Game 4.
it's the Caps, man.
100%.
Dude, so a lot of people pointed this out. So the Caps the pressure was off. They were underdogs the whole time.
And then they were up 2-0.
They were up 2-0. They re-released the Stanley Cup odds, and they're literally the Stanley Cup favorites.
Why? It should have still been Tampa.
They were the Stanley Cup favorites.
Betting, Adam.
They
It's
were the
not actually
betting-
who's going to win. It's who's going to get the most money.
They were
Thank you,
the
Jesse.
underdogs.
I don't know that.
They got a 2-0 lead on Tampa. They were named the Stanley Cup favorites, and they haven't won a game since. The Capitals are haunted. It's unbelievable. And they'll tie it up against Tampa, and just when you got a little bit of hope, I think Tampa's going to crush it. It's the worst. I know what it's like to cheer for a team where every now and then you just go, is this my lot in life? Is this like, am I just doomed to cheer for these
Hey, man,
losers my whole
if
life?
we got to the second round, the city would have turned upside
We
down.
are
Whereas the Washington Capitals are like, we only got to the 6th game of the second round. This is bullshit. Fire the coach.
I hate this.
Like it's crazy the difference. It really is. You know what? I want Washington to win because I want that storyline, and I want all the pictures tweeted at me when Tom Wilson is carrying around the Stanley Cup. I want that. There will be so many tweets in my direction, and I'm fine with that.
Washington maybe has a smaller window. Tampa might win the President's Trophy next year and be right back in Cup contention.
But
Washington's got to win now.
I'd like to see them get one within their window. I think this might be the year.
Who's this, Caps or Lightning?
Yeah,
Tampa?
I think Tampa.
Yeah.
Tampa's like Winnipeg. It's like if they lose, do nothing.
Yeah.
Do absolutely nothing.
Yeah, more
Not
or
even
less.
at the trade deadline. Do nothing.
More or less. Yeah.
And it's funny.
Caps versus McPhee.
Hey, question.
That's too good.
Are the Lightning as good if they have Drouin and not Sergachev?
No.
I don't think they are either.
No, because, who looks at the Lightning's forward group and goes, lacking?
They're not, right?
Not good. Could be better.
Could have Drouin.
Could have Drouin.
Could have got Drouin 5 minutes of ice time because everybody else is that good. What else would you do?
Oh, my God. Listen, not picking on the Habs.
I am.
Fair. But what a great trade for the Lightning. Sometimes both teams win. I'll say at least the Lightning did. At very least,
Sometimes both teams win when it doesn't involve Montreal.
Well, sometimes. They killed that trade. Jesse, can you look up some very specific things? I want to know the box scores from both Vegas Lightning games and both Vegas Caps games.
Done. No, I'm not done.
I just want to see how they went. Because I know I'm pretty sure Vegas beat Tampa both times. And one of them I remember was hilarious circumstances. I have no idea what happened Nate Schmidt bowl.
Which one do I have to look up?
Vegas versus Washington and Vegas versus Tampa, both times. Tampa, I know they played twice. Washington, I don't know. But I think that's how the schedule goes, right?
Mm-hmm.
You got to play every Western Conference team twice. One home, one away. Something like that. Adam, are you friggin' tweeting mid-show?
Yes, I am.
You're not allowed to chirp me ever again. What'd you just tweet?
Nothing.
Nothing.
Why are you tweeting?
You'll find out after.
Oh, great. Oh, good. What was it? Are you French now? You're Rob Williams
what does that
impression
even
of a French
mean?
person?
Yes, it's my cigarette. Like,
I like life.
I didn't give a fuck.
Give the medal to them.
Adam tweeted. No, it's not up yet.
getting,
He hasn't finished his tweet. Oh, he tweeted at Richard Petty.
No, I've got this other thing.
They treat adults as though they are adults. Are you just replying to anything? Like that's not even.
No, I had another one, and then I put it down in a discarded draft, and then. So you think as I asked, Capitals win tonight, Tampa wins Game 7, then what happens? Vegas,
The
Tampa.
Stanley Cup final.
Vegas, Tampa.
I'm trying to remember. Okay, so Tampa, they gave Vegas a first, I think it was, in order to take Jason Garrison.
Which was a good move in retrospect.
And Vegas didn't even use him.
Uh-huh.
Yeah,
So
Tampa,
they would never have been able to afford Ryan McDonough
and JT Miller,
and JT Miller.
which was a move that still involved picks and prospects. Dude, Yzerman's so good.
And Drouin was traded before they had to re-sign him. And they got Sergachev on an ELC.
Yeah, Yzerman's a little good. He's a little bit good.
Jeez, that's dangerous right there.
God, it's so interesting because here's what I was thinking about. In round 1, I picked the Kings.
Mm-hmm.
I don't back down from my reasons as to why I picked the Kings. Kings played Vegas about as good as anyone in the league during the regular season.
Problem with the Kings is that they're bad.
Well, that'll get you. The second round, they played the Sharks.
Not bad. Not a bad team.
Great team. Looked like they were getting better as the season and the playoffs went on. Picked the Sharks. They lost. Third round, I picked the Jets. Because how do you not? It's the Jets.
They look dominant.
That's a great word, Adam.
Like
The D.
What's
Dominant.
the D? What's the hole in Winnipeg? There's nothing. No weakness.
They got a great D core, as deep a forward core as there
it
is in the
gets.
league. You got a Vezina candidate in net. Spot the problem. I don't see one. And now they're going up against the Tampa Bay frickin' Lightning. Who won the President's Trophy? Wasn't it them?
I think so.
Oh,
I don't
no,
even know.
it was Nashville.
Oh, it was Nashville.
Tampa won the East.
Why did you want me to bring up the box scores of these games?
Because I want to know what happened.
Oh, the Golden Knights beat the Caps 3-0 in the first game. The Golden Knights beat the Capitals 4-3 in the second game. And then you wanted Golden Knights versus Lightning?
Yeah, and I wanted the box scores so I could see how the game went. Because there was one game between Tampa and Vegas that Vegas, stole. Like the Hamburglar.
In the first Caps-Vegas game, Vegas went up 3-0 in the first, and then nobody else scored for the rest of the game.
Who was in net? I want to know who got the shutout. Oscar Dansk.
For the Golden Knights, the shutout was recorded by Marc-Andre Fleury.
Interesting.
In the second game of the Caps Golden Knights, it was tied 2-2 going into the third period. And then the third, the Golden Knights scored 2 goals, and Washington only got 1. So the Golden Knights won 4-3.
Who was the goalie of record in that game?
For the Golden Knights?
Yes.
Fleury.
Interesting.
He did not have a great game. He only stopped 20 of 23 shots.
What a bum. Can you imagine giving up a second rounder for that? Or something?
The Golden Knights also swept the series against the Lightning.
Yep. Wow. These monsters. I don't get it.
In the first game, Tampa went up 2-0 in the first, and then Golden Knights scored 2 in the second, and then the third, Golden Knights scored 2, and Tampa scored 1. And then in the final game, Vegas scored 2 goals in the first, 1 in the second, 1 in the third, and won 4-1 over the Lightning. So, yeah.
Question.
I need to know the goalies.
Goalies, Marc-Andre Fleury and that's the wrong team, and Marc-Andre Fleury. He won all 4 games versus both teams.
Considering how long he was out this season, it's actually, impressive. It's rare that it would be him. Yes.
What can we learn from the Vegas Golden Knights?
That Adam shouldn't live tweet the show.
There you go.
I'm just trying to get some responses in before the end of the show. That's why you're
Oh,
If they
great.
don't tweet Richard Petty
Well, sorry,
out
I
of
saw that
something that
great
had
tweet, I
nothing
had
to
to
do
tweet
with
it at him.
anything.
Sorry.
No, you don't.
You're right.
Anyways, had to get that off my chest.
Is Adam being petty?
That was, come on.
Is Adam having his own private
I think
petty
Jess
party?
is being petty. Petty party. Oh, my God.
Okay, now this has been the frustrating thing about the Golden Knights.
Mm-hmm.
Like, what could have been done differently? Well, Florida doesn't do their deal. All right, obviously. Minnesota doesn't do their deal. All right, obviously.
Pittsburgh. Second rounder to take Marc-Andre Fleury.
See, okay, I think that was ridiculous, but at the same time, they had to do, something. So
Did they?
I don't know why they did that. I
don't
still don't know
remember-
who
I
else.
still don't fully
who else
understand
would have
that.
Vegas taken?
And I feel bad because I know Penguins fans have sent me the reason many times, and I
Yeah.
keep forgetting it.
Here, let me tweet that out.
Yeah. Why not? That's just the thing you do now. Go ahead. Now, and I'm like, okay, what do I... okay, it's a copycat league, and if a team next year wanted to be like, I want to be like the Golden Knights, what would they have to do? I don't know what it is. Find team speed.
Mm-hmm. New Jersey. Look at what New Jersey did with team speed.
You know what? You're 100% right. So, and there's another team that did better than expected,
Mm-hmm.
and another team that tried like crazy every shift and was fast.
Yep, but I don't think
So
New
is
Jersey...
that it? Is that the lesson?
I mean,
try hard and skate fast?
It all comes down to trying hard. The old school guys were right.
Yeah. You know what? Okay, here's what I will say. And don't give me this Ryan Reeves stuff because he didn't play in the first 2 rounds. You know what I didn't notice very much against the Kings? Noticed it a tiny bit against the Sharks and didn't notice any of it against the Jets is nonsense. After the whistle, pushing and shoving, face-washing nonsense. The Jets did it a little, not very much. The Kings, they had the one dirty hit that got suspended. I mean, got Drew Doughty out of a playoff game. That was pretty good for Vegas. Except I don't remember if has Carrier come back?
I don't think so.
I don't even know. The Sharks, there was that one game where I talked about it almost seemed like their strategy was to play 4-on-4 the whole time because they kept getting coincidental minors. And they won 2 games against them. They did something that
Other
LA
teams,
and the Jets couldn't do. whoever plays them in the finals, Washington or Tampa, is going to have to play a little dirty. And you want to talk about a scenario where Tom Wilson could be a freaking star.
True. Wow.
An absolute star.
Good point. Yeah, he could be a real difference maker.
Absolute star. Jake Dotchin is like there's a little
he's not
bit of
annoying.
difference.
He's just dirty.
He's a dirty player, but a little bit. But he's also like a defender. Like he's got a job to
Yeah.
do. Whereas like wingers can like it's just a byproduct of their job that they get to be a jerk. If you're a defender and you're running around doing the things Tom Wilson does, you're going to take yourself out of position. And the other team's going to score. Tom Wilson can really make a name for himself.
Mm-hmm.
That is better than the one he currently has. I mean, he has a name for himself. But he can put himself in the echelon of guys you'd want on your team.
Who could do that for Tampa?
It's a great question.
Because if I am Tampa, I'm going on my speed. I'm going on my skill. But is it Callahan?
Yeah, they got a couple like older guys who are ornery bastards, like
Chris Kunitz?
even Chris Kunitz. I was just about to say Ryan Callahan. JT Miller is big, belligerent. They don't. I don't know. They don't quite have a Tom Wilson, do they?
No.
Like it's your time to shine. One of you, if any of you are listening, who's it going to be? Like John Cooper or Barry Trotz. Barry Trotz has no work to do. He knows it's Tom Wilson. John Cooper needs a designated prick. If they're going to play and then beat Vegas, they need someone to distract them. I just look at Vegas. The more I watch them, the more I can't understand why they're winning games.
Mm-hmm.
They try really hard and they skate fast. Like nothing about what they do is crisp or perfect at all. They just find ways to win games. I don't know. Maybe I don't have a good enough eye, but I haven't seen.
I think it's transition, man. You get that.
Of course,
It's amazing the transition, and it's transition. It was the thing the Leafs couldn't do against Boston. It's transition out of your zone. Their transitions out of their defensive zones are really strong, and that's something that if you're at the NHL level, you should be able to do.
It's so simple. It's so simple.
And yet
it's
you have a
funny,
guy
I was
like
watching that, and I'm like, are they making really great passes out of the zone? No, they're just
They're in
super
position.
active with their sticks. They're in position. There's always two guys back. They have a guy high who's just a friggin' water bug, and he's faster than the other two guys he's going up against. It's like it's a stupid, simple game.
Mm-hmm.
It's the sort of game you would think the mainstream would be like, all over, loving it.
No, it's an embarrassment to the league because
Yes.
all these hardworking teams didn't get it. And Vegas did because they're somehow less hardworking.
So
I have an answer
baffling.
for Fleury,
Ah.
if you're wondering.
Oh, thank goodness. Okay.
So in the expansion draft, there were a number of goalies who were exposed. Guys like Roberto Luongo, Peter Mrazek, Korpisalo, Marc-Andre Fleury. And Pittsburgh paid the second-round pick in 2020 so that Vegas would take the contract, which was $5.75 million for the next 2 years, off of their hands,
this year and next.
as well as give them the ability to keep Matt Murray. So there you go. So they're like, hey, Marc-Andre Fleury has agreed to waive his no-move clause so that you'll take him. Here's a second-round pick so we can guarantee that you'll take this 5.75 for the next 2 years, and we don't have to worry about it,
So he's a cap dump.
essentially. So
Yeah.
they're like, hey, take this second-round pick so you don't go and select Luongo instead or Peter Mrazek.
That's unbelievable.
Yeah.
That's absolutely unbelievable. And by the way, heading into next season, I think Pittsburgh has the second most cap room already allocated.
Oh, I'm not surprised by that.
Yeah.
They're
No,
already
and it's not
talking about
surprising.
maybe Phil Kessel being moved.
I
Save
mean,
money.
again. No, well, we've
Yes.
seen this movie before. They're talking about moving one of Pittsburgh's stars, which means they're about to acquire another one. So I'm excited to see who it is. John Tavares,
John Tavares for sure.
Matt Duchene,
And John Carlson.
all three.
Wow.
Why not?
And reacquire Matt Niskanen just because.
Yep. And put him on wing.
Okay. A couple of Leafs things that we should talk about. First off, yesterday, Mira Altonen scores on a beauty setup in overtime against the Lehigh Valley Phantoms, and Toronto is up 2-0 in the Eastern Conference Finals.
I just want to say that this show is firmly against bullying. So I think Andreas Johnson should be stopped. He is picking on that league, and he should not be there.
No.
He looks so dominant.
Well, I just wondered, like, if Kasperi Kapanen had a long season and rightly went home after the World Hockey Championships, and I think it was the right move to put him there because it's a higher level of hockey, probably, maybe. Who knows?
Well, like, Andreas Janssen is separating himself from American Hockey League competition, and then you got Kasperi Kapanen, like, dangling the jock off of, like, Patrick Kane.
Right. But my point
like,
in saying that,
okay.
my point in bringing this up is that imagine if the Marlies had Kasperi Kapanen too. Where would you put him? Like, you could. That's the thing. Like,
Dude, so Jeremy Bracco down the stretch was over a point a game player. He's a healthy scratch right now. He's not playing on that team. Because looking at the roster, he probably shouldn't be. That's crazy. Jesse, can you look up Hockey Crocs Twitter? He had the Marlies lineup from last game. I can't do it from heart. I can only do it from sort of memory. They're unbelievable. And now every single player on that team, because Engvall is signed, is on an NHL contract, which is something I don't know if any other NHL team can boast. Every single player on the roster is under an NHL deal with your team? I don't know.
is that a good thing, do you think?
Yeah. I mean,
It speaks to their skill.
if they deserve it. Okay, so, sorry, here's the line from Todd Crocker, who, by the way, is in playoff form.
Todd Crocker's awesome.
Yeah, if you've been watching the Marlies highlights, Todd Crocker is fired up. Top line for the Marlies, which could just as easily be the fourth line for the Leafs next year, I think.
They should call him Cracker Jack Crocker.
Nope.
Yeah, you think so?
Nope.
I think that's what they should call him.
That comment was a Crocker of you know what. You know what I'm
See,
saying.
I
think
thought,
that's even worse. I don't even know where you're
I
going
would
with
put that in my Crocker pot.
I thought
and smoke
it was a strange suggestion, perhaps even Todd. T''odd.
Oh, all right. That was creative. Better if you wrote that, but
Todd.
okay.
Yeah.
It works better if you wrote that.
Todd suggested. I'm trying to. The delivery can use some work.
You know the chair
Look at
he
us
sits in?
criticizing him. And
You know the chair he sits in when he calls games? They call it the Todd stool.
That's good.
What?
That's good. Instead of
Like
a toadstool,
toadstool.
What's a toadstool?
it's like where
Are you
toads
serious?
sit.
Toads sit on a toadstool?
They call it that for some reason. Yeah, aren't they like a specific type of plant?
Isn't stool poop?
Well, it's also where you sit.
You sit and poop? Toads sit and poop?
I'm sure.
Is a toad's chair poop?
No, but it is jam.
And yellow.
No,
Is someone going to send this to Todd Crocker? Like, they talked about you on the Steve Dangle podcast.
Please don't.
Please don't send
Can't
this
wait
to
to hear them
Todd.
talk about the Marlies.
Todd is the man. He's such a nice guy.
Don't subject him to this terrible.
No, but okay. You said could be the Leafs' fourth line next year. What?
Andreas Janssen, Miro Aaltonen, Carl Grundstrom. That's from left to right.
That's nasty.
Andreas Janssen, Miro Aaltonen, Carl Grundstrom. The second line, Dmytro Timashov, Chris Mueller, and Ben Smith, their captain. Third line, Pierre Engvall, Freddie Gauthier, and Colin Greening. Fourth line, Mason Marchment, Adam Brooks, and Trevor Moore.
Who could also be on the fourth line?
Who-
I think
yeah.
Yanni's going to be higher up in the lineup than the fourth line.
Yanni.
Johnny.
Oh,
call him Johnny. Johnson,
I thought that
Janssen.
was like a Yanni Laurel joke, and I'm like, what did I miss?
No. I think Andreas Jansson's going to be higher than fourth line.
Their D pairings, by the way, Marinson Hall, Rosen Loverdi, and Dermot Liljegren. Yes, Sheldon. I am here for that third one. I am very here for that. And then Garrett Sparks, who has been incredible. That overtime winner that I'm sure a lot of you have seen has been, there's at least one of those in every highlight pack of every game that the Marlies have played in these playoffs. It's Andreas Janssen just bullying people, just bullying them.
Now, I got a question about that because he obviously was very good before he left for the NHL. But did he just take a step in
He
20
did.
games? And
He
that
did.
was just, and he just discovered?
He, I think, was a star when he was called up, and now it's stupid. He shouldn't be there. Like, he's too good. He's way too good. And their power play is automatic. It's automatic. And he's a big part of it and working the puck around. And Aaltonen, has been good and has played off of Janssen really well. But I think part of the reason Aaltonen has looked so good is Janssen's made him look good. I'm here for that. I'm here for that chemistry.
So then, okay, so we talked a little bit about Pierre Engvall, who you think is a dark horse to actually make the Leafs next year.
Yeah, maybe.
Because he's big. But even if he doesn't, no big deal. The other guys we should talk about, because I don't think we did talk about last week, was Lindholm.
Per Lindholm. I keep calling him Par.
Jesper Lindgren.
Yep, excited.
And Igor Orjigenov.
Who actually signed. Orjigenov. For some reason, every time we talked about him, I thought he was 30. I don't know why I thought he was 30 years old.
What is he?
He's 25.
Oh, okay.
He's not old.
So
entering his prime.
So here's the question then. Any of those guys on the team next year?
Igor, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
Igor, maybe. Jesper Lindgren, no. But that's not necessarily a bad thing. He'll develop. Lindholm, maybe.
And he's a center, right?
He is a center. That's very interesting.
But to me, it's like it seems a little strange that he come right out of the SHL and be a center in the NHL. I mean, maybe it'd be great if he could and effective.
He's 26 though. Like with Rosen and
23
Borgman,
and 21 when they signed.
Yeah. Those are guys who can, I'll take a year or two. Like Borgman's legitimately a prospect.
Yeah.
He came over basically around the same time he would have come over if he was drafted by the Leafs. Rosen's a little different. He's a little bit later. Lindholm's way late. I wonder, we keep talking about who's going to get the wing position, like on the fourth line. Could be him. Could be him, and that way they have
two centers and they can do the right left.
Exactly. Well,
because they like doing that.
Isn't he left and Altonen's also left?
I don't know.
But it would give him two options.
If Altonen's the guy.
The guy. Well,
Mike Babcock really liked Miro Altonen coming out of training camp. And it really was Tygo's the veteran, which is
and he should have.
Why Dom Moore was the guy that... It's funny.
Eric Fair got the opening game.
As soon as it became clear that Dominic Moore was not a guy Mike Babcock trusted, I do find it strange that they didn't bring up Miro Altonen.
I think they did the right thing. They gave Altonen a full year. And he got better as the year went on. Mm-hmm. Because that was another interesting thing about him. A lot of people going, oh, why haven't they called him up? He didn't start great in the AHL. He's gotten better. And I think he ended with over 20 goals. And
that's pretty impressive for the AHL, too.
Yeah, it's pretty impressive. Well, and it's the sort of thing you can do in the AHL if you're allowed to play the whole season there. So many players, you go, oh, they only have this many points? Well, it's because they keep getting yo-yoed and whatever. So I think he was allowed to develop. Lindholm's a maybe. Orjigenov's a maybe, Lindgren's a maybe, and Engvall's a maybe. I don't think any of them are slam dunks.
The best I've read on Orjigenov is that he is the type of player that they want Roman Polak to be, as in heavier, bigger, big shot, but a little more skill.
And I was looking up, so I couldn't find the clip, but I swear Chris Johnson was on this show talking about CSKA Moscow.
Yes.
And how they had like two rosters.
You said this last episode as well.
Oh, I did?
Yeah.
When did we even record last episode?
Thursday.
I don't even remember.
Thursday last week.
Well,
Wednesday.
all right. So what
Wednesday.
I said last time.
There you go. I didn't even know. So yeah, I mean these are great things that the Leafs have in front of them, right? I mean it's just stuff. Yeah. Do you think there's? I wonder if there's more. Like Mike Babcock hinted that there would be announcements upcoming when he did his interview with Darren Dreger. I wonder if that was the announcement. I'm sure it was.
I mean, probably.
I wonder if there's more.
Maybe it was that Lou Lamoriello's leaving.
No, he was talking about players.
Oh, well, then. I would expect it'd be European signings.
Yeah, I wonder if there's more, like now that the World Championships are over.
I mean, they just named 4. That's a lot. There was the report today again from Dreger that the Leafs and Komarov are about to talk.
Or no,
is
the
report
was...
what was the report?
Report was that Komarov's agent said he's excited to hopefully look forward to sitting down to maybe possibly talk to Kyle Dubas. As in his agent called Darren Dreger and said, we're really hoping to talk to the Leafs.
I gotcha. It's a shame. I like Leo. I liked him on the fourth line. I liked him on the penalty kill. You can't justify $3 million. So if he takes a haircut, fine, but like a lot of players aren't willing to do that.
And there's a lot of teams that could use him. I wouldn't be surprised if he ends up in the Island.
Dude, Edmonton should be...
Oh, he'd be great.
Their penalty kill stunk.
He'd be great for them. He really would. And you know what I like about Leo not on the Leafs is that it forces the Leafs coaching staff not just Mike, but everybody else, because there's more than Mike, forces that coaching staff to go, who else can penalty kill here?
Oh, well, I think
You got Zach Hyman, Connor Brown. Leo's gone.
They got the answer in the playoffs.
Kasperi Kapanen?
Kasperi Kapanen. Dude, he's a breakaway a game. Minimum. If he doesn't get a breakaway, check him. He's hurt. He's injured. He's so good. And yeah, Brown. But that was another interesting thing is I've read a lot of really good articles recently about what the Leafs should do in the offseason. And every time potential trade is mentioned, especially one for a right-handed D, or another popular one I've seen is Ryan O'Reilly.
No, that's just to hold salary, though, right? It's not actually to have Ryan O'Reilly.
But it all involves Connor Brown or Kasperi Kapanen being traded. I'm not a fan.
Just keep promoting in-house, man.
Yeah, I don't know.
Try to sign someone.
Oh, the Leafs need to make wholesale changes and make a huge upgrade on the right side. And you look at Vegas and you go, nevertheless.
If the Leafs, because here's what I think they need to do. They're going to have to figure out what they do with Sparks and Pickard. So that's a potential trade right there. And then you've got because Casimir Kaskis will probably want him playing for the Marlies next year.
I would think so.
And then maybe have a guy who can play more than 15, 16 games for them. Like I think they're going to want a goalie who can play. I think, Freddie was great, but I think it makes a lot more sense to have Freddie play 50 or 55 than 60 or 65.
And how do you promote Pickard to backup goalie, your NHL backup goalie, when he was your backup goalie in the AHL?
What was the split?
Mm-hmm. I don't think that makes a difference.
I think it was a split that he lost. Sparks has been the better goalie. And
because Sparks is the tradable asset.
Yeah.
Because he's been outstanding in the playoffs. That's why. And that's why I think, you get a guy like that. If you can upgrade through free agency, if you can get a Calvin Hahn, like I said, that's where you go, okay, who's expiring? Who can we deal from strength on this position?
Lots of goalies available. Just a lot of them stink. That's all. Hey, you know who's a free agent? Free agent for, I believe, Lou Lamoriello's New York Islanders. Adam will like this. Kristers Kudlevskis.
Oh.
Come on.
Latvia's finest.
Gotta get him.
It'll be very, very interesting to see how this all shakes out. But I find I think the Leafs are going to do mostly promoting from within, and I'm mostly okay with that. I think it's going to be Justin Hall. I think it's going to be Ozhiganov. I think it's Nikita Zaitsev becoming Nikita Zaitsev again.
A little bit better.
And then it's not all going to look that bad.
There's just no room for Komarov on the team.
No.
No.
There wasn't room for him in the playoffs.
Yeah.
And he could have played.
He got injured, and everybody realized, we don't need him. So why would you?
Yeah, I agree.
The only way there's room is if they do what I've been saying for months, and that's make him a center and make him fourth line center. But even then, you're having a guy who's never been a regular center in the NHL.
I like that though. I do like him as a fourth line center.
I want to see what it looks like, but we're past that.
Mm-hmm.
The time to try it was during the season, and they never did. You should look at Bozak.
Mm-hmm.
We're talking like the Leafs are going to replace Tyler Bozak with Ryan O'Reilly or friggin' John Tavares, and I get the feeling it might not shake out that way.
No.
So you look at Bozak, JVR, you just can't afford.
Nope.
You just can't afford.
And I don't think they're going to get Ryan O'Reilly because they just can't afford him either.
Also, he's on the Sabres.
$7.5 million for the next forever. I think he's going to go to a city that really needs it, like Montreal. I think Ryan O'Reilly is a Montreal Canadian by the end of the summer. If you're Buffalo and you are rebuilding again, which they are, how many second-round picks can we get for him?
I think Dubas is going to do some crazy stuff.
Do you really?
Yeah.
Because he doesn't strike me as a crazy stuff guy. He strikes me as a let's promote from within and let's do this the right way. And not that crazy stuff would be the wrong way.
No, I think he'll do both. I think he'll promote from within and do crazy stuff. I just don't know what the crazy stuff is yet.
Okay.
I'm very excited.
You know what? You want to hear some crazy stuff?
Yo, always.
You playing hockey on a line with Mats Sundin.
It's a great transition.
Can we just talk about how crazy that would be? That would be crazy stuff. Would you play right wing or left?
Right.
Jesse?
Left wing.
Would you pass more or less, this is a question for Jesse, than Steve Dangle in NHL 18?
There's no way you could pass less than 0. That's not a number, is it?
Would you intentionally go offside to throw the game?
Yes.
Like Steve's teammates in NHL 18?
I would definitely do that because I know Steve would be there and he'd be watching and he'd get frustrated.
That'd be an amazing troll move if, like, just Mats Sundin skating up the ice and then just lying on his belly offside in the offensive zone.
Jesse.
Waving his stick back and forth.
You guys are offside. You can't play anymore.
Sorry.
I'm sorry. Offside. Face
And then
off.
Ty Domi comes and beats the shit out of you.
And then I win the lawsuit.
Watch
I
the
win.
lawsuit, Ty.
No. I think Ty's fighting days are behind him. Just gonna throw that out there.
I don't know if that's true.
You know, it would be kind of fun to like, if you're playing with him and Carberlay and that sort of thing. But Ty Domi, if you play with Ty Domi, and you obviously give him a warning like, hey Ty, I'm gonna have to try to throw a hit out there. I bet even if it's a joke hit, the second you hit him, you regret it. Like he's
just built like a brick shit house.
Yeah, like he worked out really hard. Like of all the Leafs at the time, he was the gym rat.
I want a scientific study done on his skull. I saw a fight today for some reason of him fighting Chris Simon, and I don't know how he survived it. Because Chris Simon is hitting him with Chris Simon blows. And they just glance off his giant coconut. Domi was a monster.
He was scary.
That's an underrated thing about fighters. Like, not just in the NHL, but in, like, MMA and boxing and stuff like that is you gotta... I was gonna say you gotta be able to take a hit, but that's not something that you really have much of a say in. Either you get knocked out or you don't. I don't know can you train yourself to not be knocked out by a punch?
You probably could train yourself to like angle a hit. I'm sure the MMA guys do.
Dude, he got clocked. He got clocked a lot. And just never really got knocked out. I'm trying to think of a player who even wobbled him, really. Brian McGrattan, like at the very end of his career, but like he was taking Chris Simon blows. Anyway, sorry. Domi strikes me as the kind of guy who's like violence on the ice is past him. Like he could turn it on and off and we're having fun here. There are other former Leafs where I'm not so certain.
Really? There's that switch still exists?
I want you to throw a hit at Darcy Tucker.
He's an intense guy. He would be fun to play against.
That trip to Boston was interesting.
Yeah. You know what I love about him? He's still got that fire. We sat and talked to him about when we were in that, and obviously we should be talking about leovegas.net, by the way, that's how you sign up. But that's a guy who still's got the fire. And I wonder if you talked to Ty after that game, if Ty was there. Because Mats was quiet, Thomas Caberlet was quiet, Cujo was quiet. But those guys that were known to be fiery, Ty Domi, Darcy Tucker.
Steve Thomas
was fiery for sure.
Roberts.
Gary Roberts. I wonder if they're not the same, blood boiling, like, they got the crazy eyes.
But, like, I think they can turn it off. Turn it on and off.
Yeah.
Tucker,
They're dads.
No, Tucker's just that thing is concrete taped on. That's never coming off.
So if you want to play hockey with Mats Sundin and Ty Domi, you want to find out what it's like to take a hit from Ty Domi, go to leovegas.net. And, all the things that we talked about, the $500 Visa card, the $1,500 flight voucher, the June 7th to 10th, keep that weekend open. Jesse and Steve and I are also going to be there, but really you won't have time for us. You'll be hanging out with Mats Sundin and receiving his passes. So let's do the press conference.
The Presser. SDP. The Steve Dangle Press Conference.
That's a great Reddit name.
What are your thoughts on the Merrick quote about the first-round pick who may never play in the NHL due to a video game addiction? And for anyone who didn't hear it, on the 31 Thoughts podcast, he said, on video games, and I'm not going to say the player's name, I really doubt he's going to make it to the NHL. And it's because of a video game addiction, to the point where his junior general manager told me that they've had him go to counseling over it because he'll play until hours of the night and into the morning, and then he'll have no energy the next day. Like he'll be a write-off, and it is that bad. He has this compulsion for playing video games until all hours. I swore that I wouldn't say the player's name, but it's unfortunate. He's a recent first-round draft pick for a very, very prominent NHL team and will probably never play in the NHL because of a video game addiction. Merrick did go on to say that his information is between 6 months and a year old, but he adds this guy's a good player and was a high pick, but there's a good chance he's not going to make it to the NHL, his general manager said. What are your thoughts?
Well, my first thought was, okay, nope, okay, it's not a Leaf. So that was my first thought. Second thought is, I think we're going to hear more of this.
Yeah.
That was the second I heard that story, I'm like, well, especially like OHL players and junior players, like that's what those guys do. And it's almost funny, like, well, it's never funny, but you can't. It's like human beings can't escape a vice. Like I think we've heard, there's been whispers of like older hockey guys talking about how, back in the day, like players would go out and get crazy and party, and now players today are boring. Like
They don't even like have a beer throughout the year.
yeah, they have one girlfriend, and they just kind of stay inside and play video games.
Yeah, there's no crazy
and
cocaine-fueled drunken nights where, which was regular.
but you can abuse video games as well.
And you know why? Video games, and I am not comparing video games to cocaine. But
It can have an adverse effect on you, but
cocaine in the late 70s was a drug that people thought it didn't do anything to you. They just thought it made you fired up. Kind of like
a
too
cup
much
of coffee.
caffeine. Yeah, seriously. So you had like doctors doing it because they was like, wow, this is fun. We're up, And then they realized, oh, it burns holes in your brain. Oh, that's why we shouldn't do this. Oh, the cartilage in my nose is gone. Oh, that's why we shouldn't do this, right? Oh, my house is gone. I've lost my house. And I think back in the late 70s, early 80s, when that stuff really became prominent, it wasn't taken very seriously. Addiction to that was seen as weakness rather than what addiction is, which is a disease. Mm-hmm. And in that same vein, I think video games we've become so good at making them, and they're so compelling that the addictive qualities. I mean, there are people that die of video game addiction every day, believe it or not, and that sounds ridiculous to us.
Every day, I think, is an overstatement.
There was a kid. Was there a kid in South Korea that played
for like 72 straight hours
and he died?
Yeah, it's crazy.
Maybe every day is too much. Jesse's Googling
That's
it.
a thing that happens sometimes.
Thank you.
Sometimes it's a day, and
Sometimes.
But I think people don't take it as seriously as maybe they should.
But the one thing that did give me hope from that story was
Every day, Jesse. Every day.
Every
Why did I say
day.
every day? I instantly regretted saying it. As soon as I said it, I was like, nope, there goes your point. See you later.
Yep.
Walk
Like
away.
you were doing so well. And then you said every hour someone dies playing Fortnite.
This is why
Sarah McLachlan's on a couch with her dog.
she's doing the dance, the L dance. Listen, for just 5 cents a day. Anyway, what gave me hope from that story was
They tried to get him counseling?
they tried to get him counseling, so steps were taken. And also, like what you said with like cocaine, like there's physical, permanent
Damage.
things that it does to you. Whereas if you stop playing video games, easier said than done. But if you stop it, if you get rid of this vice, what's the long-lasting effect?
Well, doesn't David Price keep getting carpal tunnel now because he's addicted to Fortnite and he's told the Boston Red Sox?
I think people made the correlation.
Oh.
I don't know if that's necessarily
He plays a
thing.
lot of video games, but he's been doing it his whole career. And then now he got carpal tunnel on his left hand, and everyone was in the Boston media was like, it's because of the video games. But he's been doing it his whole career.
The Boston baseball media is crazy.
Yes.
They're crazy.
I don't know
it's
why
Montreal
you made the
hockey
baseball
media.
distinction.
Yeah. It's Montreal hockey media.
Yeah,
is what
but
it is.
okay, Bruins, fine. But the Sox, it's nuts.
That's their city. They
religion.
live and die on the Red Sox. It's crazy.
And they have the
And
Patriots.
the Patriots.
They have
and the Bruins.
Yeah, but with
and the Celtics.
but with the Patriots, it's like, we expect to win, and when we don't, we're mad. But with the Sox, it's like it becomes like gossipy. It becomes nasty, which I never hear with the Patriots.
It is, there's a bit of a Montreal hockey vibe. You're right.
In the United States, since 2001, How many video game related deaths are there?
That's one country though, and that's not even the one Adam mentioned.
Yeah, and not every day. I'm gonna go with 3.
You goalpost mover, you.
Since 2001?
Yeah, I'm gonna go with 3. Just because I'm going the complete opposite way. I really regret that comment. I can't take it back, but I really regret it.
64.
8. They have a list
I
of
was closer.
8 on the video game addiction page on Wikipedia under deaths by country. In the United States, they have 8 different stories.
Question for you:
That's crazy.
which country has the most? And I know that sounds ridiculous, but
I will refer to this list once again. It is the United States. They have the most recorded deaths that are kind of related to video games. Like, I'm not going to describe it. I'm not going to go there.
yeah.
Well, and you don't know what's
Every day.
fake. Like there was a story I saw where I think it was
I'm
in
an
China.
idiot. Such a fucking idiot. I hate myself right now.
There was
Sorry,
this-
I just had to interrupt.
Every
you. I
day.
hate myself.
by the millions.
I'm never gonna get away
Like,
from
that's
this.
so aggressive.
I'm never gonna get away from this.
There's a story going around, and I don't know if it's true, from China, where this kid was just playing video games all the time, and the dad was sick of it. And so what the dad did was he hired someone who was really good at the game to just constantly follow his son around in the game and kill him
Oh, that's
to
awesome.
make him sick of the game. To basically, he just saw an episode. He saw that episode of South Park and went, "That's brilliant. I will do
Did
that."
it work?
I don't know. There was never a follow up to it. I don't think it's a real story. Although
Pretty hard to do.
it would be
I don't
hilarious.
know how you would
if it
do
was
that,
true.
but yeah. Next
He
question.
blocked me.
Next question. How else can I make an ass of myself? Let's go.
Oh, just leave the clock running.
Yeah, really.
Yes, Jizzy?
Should the league instigate a delay of game penalty if teams that ice the puck try to switch out players, thereby causing a delay and giving their players more time to catch their breath?
Yep.
Yes.
That's from Rambunctious Raccoons.
Yes. I'm so tired of that happening.
You want a
too.
2-minute penalty against the team?
100%.
I would be interested
5
in
game suspension.
I'd be interested in the NHL implementing penalties other than minors and majors. Like
A 1 minute,
a 1 minute,
super minor.
a 30-second. I don't know. Something like that. Like that's the sort of thing where I definitely think it should be punished, but like 2 minutes, like that's the same as slashing someone's hand.
Yeah. It's
I
not the
don't
same.
know.
Yeah. Well, you know,
But it is bullshit.
It is,
Sure.
and someone dies every day because of that. So we need to address it
Oh,
every day, Steve. No, you know what? Honestly, here's the thing: because it's dumb, I think it needs to be punished on the level of slashing. No, is it what slashing is? Absolutely not. No, but because it's so dumb, because it's so stupid and it's so annoying, and the game does not need any more delays. Holy crap! Let's make it a 5-minute major.
So
if you're
nothing-
caught doing that, let's make it sting like hell.
Nothing,
A quarter of the period gone.
That's too harsh. So nothing's going to happen until next summer. Because if the Brad Marchand licking thing has taught me anything, a thing that we don't like is happening. So what the NHL needs to do first is politely ask all the teams in the league not to do it anymore. And then when they ignore those orders, that's the time for action. So when they ignore those orders next season, you got to put your foot down and say, now it's a 2-minute penalty. And you get a stormy cloud next to your
Wouldn't it
name
be-
instead of a gold star.
Wouldn't it be interesting like if you were caught doing that, you had to scratch those players the next game?
I'm down for more humiliating punishments for certain things.
Like that would really penalize a team. You have to scratch them. It's not a suspension. They get paid, but you can't play them.
Like what was one of the things we mentioned, like cup checking a guy? Like for what Brad Marchand did to Jake Dodgen when he speared him in the nuts? Like make it like $100,000 fine. Like make it humiliating. Like
But the
make
players
it,
will never go for that. Again, in a collective bargaining agreement.
I want to meet the player who's staunchly against penalizing hits to the balls.
They are against fines going that high. They are.
Okay, then we explore something different. Like those stories where the judge is like, you have to live in your car for 5 days because you tried to break into a car. I want to see them do something ridiculous, over the top, because why not? Dude, there's an expansion team in the Stanley Cup final right now. Get silly. Get a little silly. The coach has to dress for the next shift. if he orders his player
He has to
do
wear a
that.
paper bag.
Yes, yeah. Like I don't know what you do, but they should be doing something. But I'm not sure that something is a 2-minute minor. Although, if they make it a 2-minute minor, I bet they stop.
Oh, yeah. They do. Somebody gets caught first, though.
Yeah, there's always one team that's like, all right, let's see if they actually enforce the Leo Komarov with the visor thing. Let's see if they actually call it. Well, shit, they did. Chris Pronger and the Sean Avery rule. Let's see if they actually call. Oh, shit, they did. All right, let's see if they actually call the bogus icing. Oh, damn it, they did. But then you got to start calling delay of game penalties for. It's just one of many ways of delaying the game. Another thing from the J.S. Jaguar run in 2003, I still remember, I think it was like game 1 against Detroit. Like Detroit was like heavily favored. You're just bombarding the Ducks with shots. Jaguar is like friggin' Millhouse just tied to all 4 corners of the net, just absorbing the puck. And after almost every whistle, down on the ice, he might be hurt. And, I got to check my equipment, and, I need a new mask. And, like, if you're the goalie and you take off your mask because it's, quote-unquote, broken, and you just skate to the bench, like, are they just going to start play? What if you just have your mask off? There was a great SB Nation video posted recently. Like, you got to get creative. There was a great SB Nation video where they talked about all the rules that are in place now because of Roger Nielsen. I didn't know a lot of them. Like, there was one, you know how you're not allowed to have fewer than 3 players on the ice? So, like, you take a penalty, you're down to 4. You take another penalty, you're down to 3. You take another penalty, it's still 3.
Mm-hmm.
So when there was, like, X amount of time left in the game, he'd be like, all right, just keep taking infractions till the game's over.
Really?
Yeah, another one was when he pulled his goalie, he instructed the goalie to leave his stick in the crease. Just leave it across the line.
Smart.
Because it's not against the rules. There wasn't a rule yet. So it was basically like we make fun of Sean Avery for, wow. You know,
I don't make fun of him. I still think that was creative.
You made it so that they had to change the rules. Nielsen has like at least 3 rules. I can't remember what.
That's brilliant. Leaving
Can't
the
remember
stick
what the
on
other
that.
one was.
That's cool. That's a really funny idea.
Oh, there was another one. What was it? It was so many ridiculous rules. Like they had to write the rule where it was completely dummy proof too. The stick one. Okay, you're not allowed to leave your stick. You're not allowed to leave any equipment. Okay, well then we'll just and you can't leave piles of snow. Because what would stop a goalie from just going for like the
Skating
final
off, yeah.
Like, you know, Raj just waves it. Hey, we're going to pull you in 20 seconds, and you got to go, oh, God, and make as much snow as possible. Build like a little friggin' Inukshuk in the crease. Build a little snowman. Just put it across.
And just hope that it slows it down just enough.
He's hilarious. So, teams are, you know what? Find a way to make it so that teams can't do this. But as the sport evolves, you know, ways of cheating evolve, and players will find a way.
Who is the next captain of the Leafs, and when will it be announced? That's from Mike Ramey on Reddit.
Austin Matthews in September.
This September.
This September.
Of 2018.
Yes.
Austin
On the Gregorian calendar.
Sure.
All right.
Orthodox. I don't know.
Pope. Go ahead.
Cardinal.
Austin Matthews upon the signing of his extension, whenever that is.
In September. No, you're right. Oh, maybe it's sooner then.
It may not. No, it may not be. It may not be It may not be next season.
Yeah, it could be.
What?
I'm going to say it may not be.
Next
I mean, I think the fact that Mike Babcock went to Austin Matthews' house tells you that he is going to be the captain eventually.
Probably.
But are they ready for that yet?
Well, and another thing that's interesting, and Lou said it, and then Dubas repeated it when he was named GM, if you have time, use it. Signing Matthews to an extension as soon as you possibly can is the exact opposite of that.
Yeah. You got and Marner.
And Marner. That's an interesting one. It's a very interesting
Like a lot
one.
of people said we should sign, like last summer, I think I might have been one of them that said, let's get Nylander locked up now. But stupid. Because at that point, you probably would have signed him to almost the exact deal that David Pastrnak got. And in looking at it now, he's going to get less.
You think he's going to get less?
Yes, 100%.
See, the number goes up as time goes on.
But
so I would say he should be making less than Pastrnak, but because it's been, I think, 2 years or a year since
just
Pastrnak
a year.
signed,
Just last summer.
I think he gets almost exact.
You think he gets 6'6", 6'7"? Because it has to be 6'7", of course.
He might get like 6'5". He's going to get a lot of money. Also, he should be center. But that's for another day.
I agree. With that, we'll wrap it up. And I'm just going to not look at my mentions tomorrow. I'm just not even going to look. I'm so embarrassed.
I can't wait to go to the bathroom and see what you said.
No. I actually was tweeting about your Dangle jinx to see how many responses I could get from Caps fans, but they're not biting. I thought I'd get a bunch of Caps fans going,
they're too
oh my
nervous
God,
right
I
now.
hate you.
No, they're too nervous right now.
No, it was the people die every day from video game addiction. I think I'm going to get lit up for that, and I think rightfully so. So I'm not going to look at my mentions tomorrow. It's over. It's over for me. So
once again, Adam Weil is canceled.
All right, we'll be back, I think, what do you want to do, Wednesday or Thursday, guys? What do we think? Wednesday, says Jesse, so that's what we'll do. Until then, have a fantastic start to your week. We'll miss you.
Follow the guys on Twitter at Steve_Dangle, at Adam WYLDE, and at Jesse Blake.
The Steve Dangle Podcast. Brought to you by Panago Pizza. Order at panago.com and stuff your face with deliciousness.